the show, Bill had a knack for taking things too far and letting things go to his head, and yeah, this episode is certainly no exception.
Yeah, man, but you don't talking about no physician before nothing about dang old exercise program, man. I'm talking about old dang old tick, 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 boom, man.
Hey folks, welcome to Squirrel Tactics. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you haven't already. Check out our Patreon, our merch store, our sister channel, and we've got a new top tier patron. So, Brett Walton, this one's for you.
All right. Someone's insane. Look out, someone's insane.
I got my eye on you, nutcase.
And just to warn people in the future, yeah, I've got like 2 more of these to do in the videos coming up, so yeah. Anywho, let's get into it. Bill Bulk and the Body Buddies. It doesn't appear in this episode, but some of you may remember the Body Buddy Health Club as the gym where Luann takes her Taibo classes and Buck uses it for his own version of breaking a sweat.
What? Hey there, Luann. Good workout? Yeah, it looked good from here.
If you were looking at me, I'm going to have both of your gym memberships revoked. And I would hate to do that because you both look terrible.
The episode starts with Bill being reminded of his upcoming Army physical, something that he's surprised about even though it's been some time since his last one.
I have to get another physical? But didn't I just get one?
4 years ago. You counting on another miracle?
Now, it's hard to say how often Bill would be expected to pass the Army's physical fitness test considering barber isn't an actual position in the U.S. Army, but if I were to take a guess based off of research, it'd be at least once a year. Being that Bill is in a non-combat role, he'd be subject to the Army Physical Fitness Test, or APFT, not to be confused with the more difficult Army Fitness Test, or AFT, which is replacing the Army Combat Fitness Test starting in June of this year. But what matters is that Bill would be expected to do 2 minutes of push-ups, 2 minutes of sit-ups, and a 2-mile run. Seeing that Bill was about 40, he'd need to do a minimum of 24 push-ups and 38 sit-ups, then run 2 miles in less than 18 minutes. Now, I'll be the first one to tell you I'm not what you would call physically fit. I'm in shape the same way as Damon Wayans was in The Great White Hype.
Oh, I'm in shape. I'm round.
But with that being said, I could do 30 push-ups or 32 sit-ups in 2 minutes. That's really not very hard, and yes, I did test it just to make sure I still could. Running 2 miles on the other hand, especially in 18 minutes at 42 seconds or less, I could do that, but it would require something chasing me, and there's a chance that I'll pull a John Henry and have my heart explode as soon as I finish. So yeah, ultimately I couldn't do that. Bill is pretty much in the same boat and only passed the previous test because the testers forgot to reset the treadmill. And then they decided that it was best just to do a reverse Gandalf and say, screw it, you pass. Understandably, Bill is worried. He knows full well that he's got a snowball's chance in hell of passing this test. And he holds out some semblance of hope that the testers will screw up again. I do have to point out that we get a nice moment from Dale, who is typically the first to make a snide comment at Bill's expense and is pretty sensitive about his own balding.
Oh, you're bald. And not in an attractive way, like Sean Connery.
So it's really kind of sweet to see Dale be a good friend here.
Now, I got lucky once. Maybe it'll happen again.
You really need luck? Okay, you can rub my head.
Hank and Boomhauer pushed the idea of Bill exercising to try and get in shape, which he is not a fan of. Surprise, surprise there, and the Megalo doctor at the Megalo Clinic agrees with them, suggesting that Bill should join a gym, but again, Bill is hesitant, though his fear of not wanting to be judged by people in better shape is totally understandable. There are plenty of people out there like that. However, if you find a good gym, more often than not, the people won't be judgy and are often glad to help you.
You're too fat to go to a gym?
Poor Bill. Too fat to work out, not fat enough to live in bed.
A couple of things real quick. One, seriously, that Chuck Mangione cutout is equal parts awesome and terrifying as a satire of the corporatization of healthcare, as well as showing companies like Megalomart existing as capitalistic octopi, or whatever plural of octopus you prefer, to use Frank Norris's literary device. B, why is Bill going to see a doctor at Megalomart? He's in the Army, and I've never served, but I'm pretty sure the Army has doctors. And they've had dietitians going back to the Spanish-American War, so why isn't he seeing someone in the Army? Granted, maybe he's afraid they'll get him in trouble or something. This is Bill. He ain't always the best thinker. It just seems odd to me. I also find it interesting that sometime between season 8 and season 11, Megalomart changed their policy when it came to the Megalo Clinic, and they actually started staffing a doctor.
Sir, Megalomart trains us to take care of all medical situations. Attention shoppers, if there is a doctor in the store, please report to the Megalo Clinic.
Also, the Hopefully Doctor recommends Bill buying some home gym equipment, and there's a bulletin offering said gym equipment for sale on a nearby board, and this is rather similar to the one we see in the Tom Landry Teacher's Lounge later on in Bobby Ray.
I don't know what to do. I finally have a girl interested in me, but it's just because I got rid of those soda machines. I gotta keep it going.
And, of course, surprise, 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 it's none other than Carl Moss that's selling the equipment, which Hank figures out rather quickly is actually the school's equipment, but granted he has an explanation.
The football team got all new equipment. I thought, as principal, it was my duty to sell it for the children. I can throw in an overhead projector.
Now, I'm not going to call Carl Moss a liar, but if you use Steiner math, there's like a 92 7/8% chance that Principal Moss is so full of shit that his eyes are brown. Legit sale or not, the guys going together to buy the equipment, setting up a neighborhood home gym in Bill's garage. Everyone seems to enjoy it for various reasons. Peggy likes the atmosphere, Min likes that she doesn't get pictures taken of her, and Nancy doesn't have to worry about walking in on two men in a compromising position. That's not a joke, that's her actual reason, too much gay sex.
It's nothing but gay sex all the time.
I do really want to give kudos to everyone for really being there for Bill as he started his journey, even cheering after he completed his first bench press. This support solidifying Bill's belief that he could in fact achieve his goal of getting into shape. Hell, of achieving any goal, and I like seeing a pure form of happiness from Bill, rather than the type we often see that's derived from lording over others, an example of which we'll get to later in the episode.
I can get in shape. I can pass my physical. I can fly to the moon and marry a mermaid.
He continues his adventure to health by walking in the mall, which is a good idea. It's climate controlled. He can stop and sit if need be. Maybe do a little window shopping, and he happens across Complete Nutrition. Not the cleverest of names there, which I'm guessing is the King of the Hill version of General Nutrition Centers, or GNC. And much like my experiences with GNC, Bill is met rather quickly by a feller who definitely works out, and he's rather high-strung as it pertains to fitness. This particular example is named Dirk and is voiced by Diedrich Bader.
Take a look at what I'm wearing, people. Do you think anybody wants a roundhouse kick to the face while I'm wearing these bad boys? Forget about it.
Who also voices a few other characters on the show, including possible Ray Roy Jody Strickland.
Oh, we going to, son, what's the bad part of Memphis called?
Memphis?
Yeah, that's where we headed.
Now, old Dirk here wants to help Bill, and I quote, max his pump. Maybe Nancy was onto something, but of course he means pump as in muscle.
Vitamins? You looking to fight the sniffles or max your pump?
Seeing as Dirk has certainly put in plenty of time and effort pumping iron. Seems to have skipped a leg day or two, but what I'm saying here is that you don't get to looking like Dirk unless you put in the effort. Even if he was on steroids, and it's a decent chance that he was, they help build muscle faster, but he still had to put in the work. Bill is impressed with Dirk, which is understandable, and when Bill tells him that he has a gym at home, Dirk offers to train Bill in exchange for working out at his gym because, well,
that's why the local gyms won't let me train. They're jealous of my pump. So this is what we're gonna do. I'll train you for free, and you let me use your home gym.
I'm willing to bet good money that's not why the gyms don't let him in. He seems like the kind of guy you don't really want to be around, and I don't just mean when you're working out. He seems entertaining, but from a distance. He's the kind of guy you'd love to spot while people watching, but hate to actually interact with. Or I could be wrong. Anywho, Bill makes his deal with the Dirkster and starts following his advice, which includes protein shakes, which I'm sure he bought from Dirk. Keep in mind that at this time, many workout supplement stores such as GNC paid their employees commission on selling products. But hey, Bill's drinking a protein shake, and when he explains what it is, Dale has a few rather fair questions.
Question, who is Dirk? What is a rapid release protein supplement? Where is your pump? And why does Dirk want to max it?
Bill explains that Dirk is his personal trainer, that he's on a fitness plan, then puts in a little dig at Hank for not doing the same thing for him, I suppose. But again, kudos to Bill for sticking with things. He's on the right track. Fast forward to everybody working out in the gym, having a good time, which comes as a surprise to some.
Who thought Bill's house could function as something other than a shrine to crushing misery?
Then Dirk shows up with his two body buddies in tow. Coach, voiced by Randall Reeder, who voices several other characters on the show, but is probably best known for his role in the Deadpool films.
Say the magic words, Fat Gandalf.
I'm sorry.
And of course, Gorilla, voiced by the late great physical embodiment of vitriol and cocaine himself, the Macho Man Randy Savage.
Let the planes fly by! I could grab it out of the sky right now, but oh my aggression to you, honky-tonk man, yeah. Don't buy any unripe bananas, yeah, because you won't live to eat them, yeah. I'm talking Mean Gene Oakland, yeah. You know what wavelength I'm on right now, don't you?
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
I find it interesting that both of them are voiced by former professional wrestlers. Savage, of course, having an illustrious career between snapping into Slim Jims.
Need a little excitement? Step into a Slim Jim!
And something I learned doing this video, Randall Reeder actually wrestled for Global, which is surprising to me because Global was a promotion based out of Dallas, and I watched Global as a kid. It was where some serious talent cut their teeth, like JBL and Harlem Heat. So yeah, the three of them rock up to the garage gym like Battletoads.
Let's get warning!
And pretty much immediately just destroy the entire atmosphere, or vibe as you kids would put it.
Gorilla in the house!
Showing exactly why they're not allowed in the local gyms anymore. Shout out to Nancy, by the way. When the whole group freezes, this was the position that she froze in and held it. Yeah, Nancy's got a pump of her own going on, and I ain't talking about John Redcorn. Anywho, rather than just getting to it and working out, the three bromigos here decide to put on their own music, which is higher energy. Then they try to help the smaller people work out better, pretty much being jerks for no reason. And Gorilla ends up freaking out Luann, which, yeah, I can get why she'd be freaked out.
See, your elbows aren't tight, so you're missing out on the sick rip.
His arm's having a heart attack!
Bill even tells Bobby to quiet down because he tries to tell a joke. Suffice to say, the old neighborhood gym with its laid-back any-toot-goes attitude has been invaded by stereotypically overly serious and aggressive gym bros. And considering these are guys who pretty much live to work out, they have free reign of the gym rather quickly. Hank does stop by to invite Bill on a walk, though he is a tad put off by the smallness of Bill's shorts.
You want to put on some more pants and come on out for some light cardio?
Cardio.
Yep, not fans of cardio. Looking at those legs, that makes sense. No, they'd rather pump iron, admire themselves as they preen in the mirror, as well as whatever the hell this cacophony of jackassery is.
Oh, yeah! Oh, yeah! Yeah! Oh, yeah! Oh, yeah!
At dinner, Luann, Peggy, and Bobby are not fans of the muscly newcomers, but Hank points out that they're getting Bill to work out, which was the whole point to the gym in the first place. He understands that sometimes there are bumps in the road, but if you stay the course, you'll get to where you want to go. And with the support of the Pumpers 3, Bill sticks to it, living healthier, drinking God only knows what. But as his health and strength improve, the atmosphere in the gym degrades even further, as we're shown a montage featuring Macho Man by the Village People, which is rather fitting due to Randy Savage guest starring. Macho Man, yeah. And work pays off with Bill looking pretty good. Now, this episode points out two issues with Bill. First is that when he feels accepted in something, especially something new, he goes all in on it like a good old-fashioned 90s college cause head.
These, Tom, are your cause heads. They find a world-threatening issue and stick with it. For about a week.
And sadly, this pattern of going the whole enchilada often occurs at Bill's detriment. We saw it with the men's choir group, the Harmonaholics.
Look at you! You're part of a 12-headed jackass! This course is the feces that is produced when shame eats too much stupidity! You people make me envy the deaf and the blind!
We saw it with the whole heat waver fiasco.
I'm getting back on the road, Hank.
Absolutely not.
But I'm the heat waver.
You're not leaving this home.
And let's not forget he spent almost an entire episode and several in-universe months wearing a Santa suit.
Marilyn's gone.
Of course she is. You know, Bill, even Troy Aikman takes off his uniform after the Super Bowl.
How do you know?
Hell, I could do a video just on the times that Bill has done this to himself. It's quite possible I will. Which leads to Bill's other issue here, the fact that Bill doesn't have a normal sense of confidence. He's either depressed, believing that he's the worst person on the planet and no one will ever love him, or he sees himself as better than everyone and treats them as if they were beneath him. There is no in between. He's either digging for rock bottom or totally full of himself, and sweet merciful Lord if you give that man any amount of power.
Con, get your men.
Con has men?
Take Hank to the cage.
There's a cage?
So yeah, Bill gets in shape and it goes to his head to the extent that he's so transfixed on his reflected pump that he screws up a haircut.
Hey! Problem? No, sir!
And Bill gets reminded that the fitness test is mostly running on a treadmill. As I stated before, he could have probably done the push-up and sit-up portion just fine. It was always the 2-mile run that was the issue, and sadly, he's no closer to doing a 2-mile run than before he started working out. Is he healthier? Absolutely, and that's great, but he's done zero cardio in preparation for a test where cardio was what he was already lacking. But, of course, Bill's got muscles and a highfalutin attitude.
Run? These guns run from nothing.
And just to further show this change in Bill to becoming a narcissistic exhibitionist, he brings up the idea of working out in the yard instead of the garage so that other people would have to see them. It's not good enough to work out, you gotta be seen working out. This is what the pre-social media version of "did you really work out if you didn't video it" looked like. A bunch of fart-sniffing, preening assholes, and let me be clear here, if you go to the gym and work out and want to build muscle and all that, cool, more power to you. The issue here is the small percentage of these people who are also self-centered assholes. Hit 'em with it, Hank.
Horse's ass.
So if you're a gym bro or whatever you call it, but you're part of the majority which just do your thing and don't bother other people, awesome, keep on keeping on. But these guys, one of whom Bill sadly has turned into, only care about the muscle because of the attention it gets them. Be that attention positive or negative, because to them it's all positive.
Don't take it personal. He's just jealous of your juicy rip.
Negative attention from those that Bill delusionally sees as haters is still positive because they're just hating because they're jealous. It's like multiplying two negatives and you get a positive, except that's math and math makes sense. Anywho, we see a perfect example of this when Hank finally has enough of 4 men obnoxiously working out in front of everyone and making more noise than a 50-cent brothel. So he plans to walk on over and have a calm, meaningful discussion with his nearly lifelong friend who's working out on equipment that they all jointly paid for. Yeah, that's a pretty good plan.
I'll tell you what. Why don't you Smurfs start your own gym across the way? These look about your size.
Except it didn't work, because of course it didn't work. Bill at this point has basically devolved into a bratty teenager egged on by his buddies, body buddies if you will. He's like the male version of a mean girl, and seen as his new clique and his pump is all he cares about, he pisses off Hank and by extension everyone else in the alley to the extent that they have a cookout and don't even invite him. Now this should have been a wake-up call to Bill that maybe, just maybe, this whole fitness journey had turned him into someone that his former friends don't want to be around anymore. Come on, Bill, it's time to wake up and smell the cabot.
Boy, that cheese.
However, instead, he decides he'd rather leap head first deeper into his haters gonna hate self-delusion.
No, it's the children who are wrong.
And goes hog wild working out. In fact, a little too hog wild as he puts 8 45-pound plates on, which isn't a huge amount to leg press. Well, that is if Bill hadn't skipped every leg day to work on his upper body. And because of that, Bill had himself a bad time. That's not good. That's not good at all. He's suffered some major physical damage there, and he's pretty much stuck because he can't move, and he's ostracized himself from all of his neighbors. Luckily, he's found by the muscle thruple, who do free him from being trapped in an unfortunate position, but unluckily they're all morons who think this is a good thing since Bill has just hit the threshold and needs to push through.
I know it's a good workout when blood vessels in the back of my eyeballs pop. No agony, no braggony. Am I right?
Yeah, no, I'm no expert here, but if it hurts, stop doing it. What doesn't kill you does not make you stronger, it makes you crippled. So, being the idiots and sadists that they are, they just pick Bill up and force him to bench press so that he can power through instead of, I don't know, getting medical attention. Bill can't get help from the guys in the alley because he's already burned that bridge. And when Bill can't keep going due to pain and physical injury,
push, push, push.
Oh, shit. It's got hair!
they just think he needs protein, so they force feed him raw eggs through a thrown together beer bong, and when they're done for the day, they just carry him into the garage, weight bench and all, and leave him to lie in agony with heavy metal music blaring. He does try to call Hank, but the music is too loud and Hank still has a bad taste of Bill left in his mouth. Man, that didn't sound right, but you know what I mean. Also, while all that's going on,
how much longer till bedtime?
14 minutes.
Righteous.
I'm guessing they're very regimented when it comes to meals and sleep schedules. Bill, through the sheer tyranny of will, is able to finally shut the music off. However, it takes him all night, and the guys immediately come in and turn it right back on, ready to start another day of working out. That day just happened to be Bill's Army physical, and after Bobby reminds Hank that though he's changed, he used to be Bill.
I'm a little grossed out by him too, Dad, but he was human once.
Hank decides to check on him and make sure he doesn't miss his fitness test. And it's a good thing he did, because the moron brigade is trying to figure out why Bill hasn't been working out the same for the past 2 days. And see, the solution to that is to just add more weight. The concept that he's actually hurt never once crossing their minds, even after Hank comes by and sees that Bill is in obvious pain, yet they claim that he's just fine. Hank, however, is not convinced, so he talks to the guys in the alley.
So I tell men, I trade this six-pack for this six-pack. She threw me out.
It makes sense that Con would replace Bill as the 4th guy in the alley, but what matters here is that Hank informs them that something is legitimately wrong with Bill, which doesn't seem to faze them at all at first. But when Hank pushes the issue and claims they've got to do something, Dale, Con, and Boomhauer are all on board pretty much immediately. They know they have to get Bill away from the body buddies, but they gotta figure out how. Someone comes up with the bright idea of pitting the 3 of them against each other over who has the best physique, or pump if you will, by claiming that each of them had bigger muscles. This distraction allowed them to carry Bill out of the garage. Seriously, narcissists. These are the kinds of guys who would actually drown themselves after falling in love with their own reflections. Oh, and the weight of Bill's added muscle makes the guy second guess the whole working out thing.
Man, maybe we do need to lift some goddamn weights, man, and pump her thick, man.
They get Bill to the hospital, finally, thank God, and apparently he caused some major damage, with the doctor being flummoxed by the x-ray and describing Bill's injuries as such.
Your rectum ruptured and, well, your internal systems became external.
Now, I'm guessing that what we're talking about is rather far beyond just a simple anal prolapse. There's a term for that, and he claimed that he'd never seen it before, so how much came out? We don't see Bill with a colostomy bag afterwards, so I'm curious to know the extent of the injury here. I don't want to see it or hear a graphic explanation, but a little more detail than that would have been great. Or maybe it was just a prolapse of the rectum.
Rectum? Damn near killed him.
The episode ends after Bill gets out of the hospital, probably after several surgeries, where he's recovering and using a walker. We find out that his fitness test was postponed, probably a good idea, and we end off with Hank and Bill taking a killer walk to Bill's mailbox. So, Bill Bulk and the Body Buddies. It's another example of Bill getting too big for his britches, which, to be fair, if they didn't use that trope over and over, we'd lose like 10% of the show's episodes. It's a a fun episode that has some funny lines. It's a Bill-centric episode that doesn't leave you either depressed, irritated, or a combination of the two, seeing as Bill ends up learning his lesson in a rather gruesome and excruciating manner. It's set mostly in Bill's garage. Really, this episode doesn't have a whole lot of different settings and could be pulled off rather easily as a play. And maybe that's the point. Maybe the episode was made to be an actual morality play where Bill learns a lesson on humility and turning your back on those that have always supported you in favor of the bright, shiny new supporters who aren't really supporters at all. They're little demons poking Bill with their tiny pitchforks in order to force him into maximizing his pump, even as more of his internal systems reload into his way too small shorts, all to the tune of off-brand copyright-friendly thrash metal. How's that for a summation? Bill's overinflated ego is also an issue that can sometimes befall those that improve themselves. It's like an alcoholic that quits drinking, but then sees anyone who still drinks any alcohol at all as being weak and beneath them. I've seen it. Some people just let the attention that they may or may not get, but they believe they deserve, and more importantly, have earned, go to their heads and cause them to see themselves as much more important than they are. It's like a gateway drug to main character syndrome. My biggest negative here, and this might just be me, was the animation in this episode has always felt off. I can't really describe it better. It's like my uncanny valley senses are going insane, but I notice it more when Bobby does his to the moon thing.
To the moon!
Something just does not look right, and this is far into the digital switchover, so it's not that. Overall, great guest voices. We get to see Bill get in shape and build some nice muscle. Plus, if nothing else, we learn that Bobby has no idea what a pap smear is.
Bobby, it's chicken and dumplings for school lunch, and I have a pap smear.
I hate chicken and dumplings. I'll trade you, Mom.
Thanks for watching, folks. We'll see y'all next time.
George Washington, no mask. Thomas Jefferson, no mask. Freaking Ben Franklin, no mask.
That's why they won't let Arnold be president. They're jealous.
It ain't right. War!